Bruh. Dude, that's crazy. My appendix burst. I've never had that. I've never had that, not excuse, but you know what I mean. I've never had that reasoning before. Yeah. What I would do you have like an address that of his office or something that he works at or something? I would do like a gift or something. If they're that big and they're like they could be a couple $1,000s a month of MRR, like I would spend 50 to 100 or $150 on a massive like edible arrangement, like some fruit, maybe cookies, like spoonful. I use spoonful for cookies. I would basically just send that, and you can send it with a note of like, dude, thanks for giving me the time, all the time that you've given me so far. Sorry to interrupt your call the other day. Would love a shot to speak to you more. Like if you send over $100 worth of cookies or $100 worth like of an edible arrangement, and you send that, it's a good chance that he's gonna like give you another chance. Or next time you call, he'll answer, or try to answer. And so, and depending on how big it is, like do that for a month, 2 months. Like that's what's so crazy to me. Like I've been learning about these bigger software companies that have like done massive enterprise deals, and it's so funny. I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is so cute what you think you're doing to try and land these big clients. Like my buddy worked with a big pest control company, but not even like the biggest in the nation. They probably had like 60 or 70 locations. And there's this software called Applause. It's a review software, and it also it integrates tipping really well. And Hunter's like the guy that I was talking to is basically like, dude, like they flew us out to Arizona or somewhere. We played golf with them for like 2 days in a row, got dinner every night, all this sort of stuff. And they landed a massive deal, obviously. And so it's like scale that up and down. Like if you're, we are where we are. We're not these massive companies yet. We're not funded, all these sort of things. But how can we like get closer to that? I mean, because imagine this, like somebody cold emails me and they're like, "Hey, I want and I want to help all 7 of your locations get reviews." You're like, "Ah, so funny," and you just ignore it. It's just spam, right? And then maybe you get on a call with them, but you still kind of forget about it. But now imagine you just spent a weekend with them in Hawaii or whatever it is, and you just ate and all this sort of stuff. Like you're gonna say yes. You're gonna be like, "Yeah, we'll do the reviews with you," you know. Um, and so you spend, I mean, this is obviously an extreme example, but let's say you spend 20 grand on the weekend to now get a client that pays you 10 grand a month. It's a pretty good ROI, you know? So I would just figure out some sort of gift or something to do. Yeah, for sure. Sweet. Well, we can go ahead and dive into Q&A unless anybody's got some more wins, but go ahead and share raise your hand if you've got a question. There's a little react button down at the bottom. And yeah, would love to help out if I can. All right. Holy moly. Ryan, Mike, Carmen. All right. Ryan, Mike, Carmen, in that order. All right. Ryan, what's up? So you can there's a couple different ways that you can do this. Um, the snapshot right now is built out to where these recurring customers, we basically just shrink the workflow down to only request a review once. So like once a week, once a month, or whatever. So they're not getting a bunch of follow-ups. That's kind of like you in the custom values. It says, hey, how many times you follow up? You could say like, yeah, correct. But if they're getting the tag customer re-added every single week or every single month, they're going to be re-added to that workflow. And so what you can do, and I've done this in the past, is add an additional tag that says like recent or active or whatever. And then when it, in the review request workflow, if they have, if they go through, they get the tag recent added. Customer tag added, which is recent, is in a separate workflow. So you build a separate workflow that basically says, recent customer. You add them to that workflow, and then you wait 30 days or 90 days, however long you want to wait, to remove that tag. And so then now at the top of the review request workflow, you have a filter that says, does this contact have the tag clicked and or the tag recent? And if it has those, you don't request it. And so you can just adjust how long you want to make sure they don't get a review request again for with that recent workflow. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah, the best it is, I mean, it's a little bit worrisome. Depends on the industry. Like the best thing you can do is you can get somebody, if you can get somebody on their team to own that process, and like it's their head on the chopping block if they don't do it. Like I've talked about this before, but like if you're working with like an owner operator, if they don't upload contacts to the system to get more reviews, nobody is going to yell at them. There's nobody that's going to be like, "Oh my gosh, you didn't do that," right? It's just them getting onto themselves, which is just like, whatever. There's no one to hold them accountable. If you can get somebody on their team, whether it's a VA, whether it's their secretary, whatever, if you can get them to own that process, get them on the call, and send reminders to them with the business owner CC'd on it, that's been the best way for us to get contacts added consistently. Besides the other consistent things, which are if they can just add you as a user to their CRM instead of creating integration, then you can just set a reminder every week or something and get your VA or yourself to go in and export the customers for them and import them. What do you mean? I'm a little bit confused what you mean. Gotcha. Yeah. So you're saying going off their email notifications? Yep. So that's something we've done in other softwares that it's a little bit, it takes a second to set up sometimes, but in other softwares that allow you to send automated emails based off of certain triggers, like invoice paid or whatever. For example, Service Autopilot, I think they don't allow integrations really with third parties, but they allow you to send out an email to somebody that's added to your system as a user every time you get an invoice paid. And in that email, you can say contact first name, contact last name, contact phone number, contact email. And so now they send you an email with all the information that we need every time they get an invoice paid. And then we just use Zapier to basically clean up that message and put it into the sub account. Yeah. Occasionally. Yeah. I mean, they're not the most fun, but we can work with webhooks. Yeah, for sure. All right, I had Mike next, and then we'll get to Carmen. Mike, what's up? I got you. Amen. Yeah. Okay. Mm. Yeah, so it's a great question, Mike. It really depends on the type of business that you want to build, right? Because the reason why I did reviews and did kind of the lower ticket for now is that we have a incredibly stable, steady business model with a lot of clients that are very clear as to what we do and what we don't do, and we have pretty low amount of support and expectations from our customers for it, right? So it is a slower burn, as a very slow burn. I mean, it's taken a while to get to. We did 50, I think we did like $56,000 last month in revenue, and we just started introducing the upsell. So about $10,000 of that ish maybe was kind of the upsell, but you have a very stable business, but it takes a long way to get there. The other side is way faster. Like you said, less clients to manage, but higher expectations. And you really just have to do a good job of one, providing, setting expectations and providing on those expectations that you set. But two, communicating the scope. That's the scary thing when you get into this, like, hey, I'm going to do a higher ticket, I'm going to do a bundle. You have to make sure that you don't become their marketing intern that they call for anything and everything. And so, if your goal is to get to $10,000 a month as quickly as possible, whatever your goal is, then I would definitely recommend starting higher ticket. And I would probably I would do review reactivations, websites, and local SEO. That's like the bundle. That's the package that I would sell. And I would probably do cold outreach locally and warm outreach in my local audience. I mean, warm outreach in my phone contacts and my followers to find business owners that want those three things. And I would sell it as like a ranking offer of like, hey, I'm going to help you get ranked on the first page of Google in 90 days. And it's tricky because like you can sell this as a silver bullet, but all of my upsells that I've been selling as like, hey, honestly, like we're gonna help you rank better, but this is like foundational SEO stuff that you need to do either today or in 3 years. And if you do it today, you're gonna benefit from it for the next 10 years. But not necessarily. I mean, I'm pretty clear with them that hey, SEO is not the service that you need to start paying for if you need to make payroll on Friday. So making that very clear creates a decent catalog of customers with proper expectations. Because if you create crazy expectations on the sales call, you can sell way more for sure. It's just harder to keep and harder to keep them, keep from getting a hamster wheel. But I would do that. I would sell probably a combination of review reactivations, websites, and local SEO with the Google Business Profile, all that sort of stuff, and sell it as a ranking offer to people locally or people that already know, like, and trust you first. Yeah, well, we hear the same thing on reviews. It's like, oh, I already got to 100 reviews. I already got to 100 reviews. Like, why would I still need to get more? And it's just like anything. It's like, hey, if you if you just have 100 reviews on Google and you just quit getting reviews for 6 months, 3 months, 6 months down the road, if your competitor has 50 or 60 reviews and they're getting reviews every single week, slowly, one or two reviews at a time, Google's going to be giving that business preferential treatment. How does Google know that you're still in business and still doing a good job if your website is dormant? If you aren't posting anything online, if you're not getting any more reviews, if your business goes dormant, how is Google supposed to know the most important thing when it comes to recommending businesses? Are they a good business and are they still open? Like those are the most important things for it. Um, and so yeah, I mean, it's just kind of selling them as like, hey, if you're not giving any attention to Google, Google's not going to be giving any attention to you. And same thing for the other AI platforms as well, maybe even more so, because those are taking a more holistic picture of like, hey, are you posting on social media? Are you all across the web? All that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's just trying to sell them as, hey, this isn't like a one-time silver bullet thing. But I do think that people are people are willing to pay way more for one-time services up front than they are for hey, like saying, hey, I'm going to do $2,000 for the SEO work for 90 days or 45 days or whatever it is way easier to get a yes to than saying, hey, I'm going to do SEO work for you, $1,500 a month, $1,000 a month, whatever, and acting like it's just going to go into basically into oblivion of like all the months in the future. But so kind of my idea with it is I want to do the model that I'm going to try to be pushing this year is going to be trying to figure out what's a package that gets local business owners incredible results for $1,000 to $2,000, and then how can we basically get them on continuity on a lower monthly subscription that makes sense to them even on their worst month, but still provides a lot of value, right? So it's like we charge $2,000 for review reactivation, for setting up the website, for citations, backlinks, Google Business Profile optimization, all that sort of stuff. Now we charge $4.99 a month to get them more views, to manage their website for them, to optimize their Google Business Profile and add posts and stuff to social media, all that sort of stuff. So like that's a more palatable expense on a month-to-month basis. I think almost unless you're working with like very big local businesses, like kind of more 3 million, 5 million plus, whatever, if you're charging a couple $1,000s a month to a local business, like it's just bound to end in a not great relationship at some point. Yeah, for for sure. Well, for sure, for sure. All right, Carmen, what's up? Hey, I got you. Just in my experience with TextGrid and Signal House and what I've heard from the community and people that have used it more than I have, is that it can be unreliable in terms of deliverability. I've heard it go through. I've heard both of them go through months of like two months where they're great and everything's perfect and it's just like they say it's going to be, and then all of a sudden, messages aren't going through and they're not answering your support questions for a couple of days. And that was kind of specifically on the TextGrid side. So I mean, it's worth looking into them again and giving them a go. I just kind of got to the point where like people were getting upset with me because TextGrid and Signal House weren't being delivered, and I was like, hey, I made these videos about TextGrid, about Signal House, because we literally had no other options for like a month. In 2025, beginning of like March, April 2025, I was going months. I had 30 phone numbers in HighLevel that weren't getting approved and they weren't budging. And so I was just creating sub accounts and trying to get it. I was like, I need an alternative. And so then I spent a bunch of time and money on a bunch of other tools. And so I made, videos about the tools and the different options and how they work. And then, some of them caught some traction, obviously. And then 3 months, 4 months down the line, it's like, oh, what some of these softwares said that they could do and what they promise, they can do, but like maybe they can't do it as consistently as just getting the phone number in HighLevel. Because HighLevel will go through these phases where it's like feels like it's impossible to get a phone number, and then after that, it's after that you can just like submit anything. And it feels like to get submitted. Like there's just like basically these waves of like them cracking down and up again. And so, what I would recommend is just to get a process in place, and outsource it to a VA, or use something like A2P Wizard. They have like done for you A2P approval stuff. Well, they'll just manage that for you. Like it won't be any sweat back. They'll just, I think, I forget what they charge, but you can book a call with them and they'll handle the process for you. You're muted. You're muted, crew. Yeah, I got you now. Yeah, with like the A2P stuff and it being so hard, I haven't built this out before, but it would be worth figuring out how to keep it all in one sub account. You can connect a bunch of different Google Business profiles to one sub account now, and so it would be worth you doing a little bit of. You basically just have to figure out how to make sure the right contacts are going to the right Google Business profile. Even that doesn't matter too much, because if they're all the same name, like the customer isn't going to really be able to tell the difference if it's like a certain location or whatever. Um, but yeah, it's worth trying to figure out. It's not much work at all. It's just making sure the contacts go to the right business. And then also another thing too, that's another why I've been talking a lot about the upsell is because like as the phone number stuff gets harder and harder, it just makes more and more sense to maximize the yeses that we do get from local business owners, maximize those yeses by trying to provide more value and collect more revenue from them. Yeah, for sure. All right, I have Jerry and then I have Ryan again, but I think I missed somebody after Jerry. I know somebody raised their hand and I think I missed it. So raise your hand again if you still Christian. That's right. Okay, sorry. All right, Christian. Christian, I know that you raised your hand before Jerry. So, but I already called on Jerry. So Jerry, go ahead, and then we'll get Christian. Hey Jerry, I lost you. I can't hear you anymore. Jerry, I lost you after you said single house verified phone number. Oh yeah, the new snapshot you can't use with Signal House. You can't use with third-party text messaging providers because for some reason HighLevel doesn't let us use third-party SMS providers through the native reputation management feature. So you need to upload the old snapshot into that account, and there's nothing wrong with the old snapshot. The old snapshot actually has a lot more benefits to it than I think the new one is. I don't even like the new one that much. So I would use the old snapshot. It takes a little bit longer to set up, but it's more robust, and I think it gets better results. And so, yeah, just you need to move that old snapshot into that account so you can use TextGrid. I mean, Signal House. Yes. Cool. Cool. Yes, sir. All right, Christian, what's up? In the snapshot, I have a video. I have a white label video in there already. It's in school too. Just recreate the video I made pretty much. It's just like, hey, Loom recording. Here's a CSV file. Click this import button. Map the columns. Add the tag customer or whatever, or add them to a specific workflow, and you're good to go. If they're doing one at a time, I wouldn't even send them a video on how to do it and get them to log in. If they're doing one at a time, I would send them a form, text them a form to their phone every day, and if they're just doing one at a time. But if they're doing it via like a spreadsheet every week or every month or something, then that's where you need to make a video. Just a high level form. Just go to sites, click on forms, put name, email, phone number, put a text at the top that says, "Hey, put in the information that you want. Put in somebody, put in the customer's information that you want to send a review request to." They put the information in. When that form's submitted, you have to add that as a trigger to the review request workflow, and so now they're automatically added to request to review. Yes, sir. All right, Ryan, can you make it really quick? I have a call. I've got to jump to. Dude, yes, that sucks. Contact high level support. They have to fix that. That sucks. That used to happen all the time in our accounts. Yeah, it's literally just a glitch when you're doing sub account stuff, when you're doing sub accounts and snapshot stuff. So I thought they had fixed that. We haven't run into that, but anyways, cool. Gotta run, guys. Peace out. Y'all have a great one.